Hello and welcome. My name is Ash, and welcome to my YouTube channel, Ash Knows Travel, where we go over everything travel. And tonight we are going to do something really exciting. We are going to do personal accountability in business, and it's not going to be your usual training. Tonight we are going to do a workshop that is going to transform your business. So let me go ahead and remove all this fancy stuff off the screen. And while I'm doing so, if you haven't already, make sure you like and subscribe to my YouTube channel so you never miss when I'm going live. So the training for tonight is called Personal Accountability in the Business Sphere. We are going to have a very strategic discussion. Before we start having that discussion, make sure that you get like a pen and paper or start getting ready to take notes on your phone, because we're going to build like an entire plan. I'm going to ask you questions that are going to make you think about where you're going when it comes to business. I'm going to help you set up a goal and a deadline tonight. We're going to do a lot. So make sure you get something to write with. Now, of course, before we get started, I do want to have a little bit of a conversation with you. In order to be able to hold yourself accountable, it is important to have an honest conversation with yourself first. You may be at a good place or a bad one, but you're still here to improve. So let's first celebrate the fact that you are here. Showing up is one of the hardest steps in success. Now, before we get started, I want to first have a discussion between me and you here on this live, okay? In order to be able to hold yourself accountable, it is important to have an honest conversation with yourself first. You may be at a good place or a bad one, but you are still here to improve. So first, I'm going to celebrate the fact that you are here. Showing up is one of the hardest steps in success. While we go through this training, please enter it with an open mind, okay? We're not here to criticize you. We are not here to judge you. I would never, ever put you in a position to be even that kind of mindset. What we're here to do is to just step back and say, you know what? Matter of fact, I'm not doing that. Maybe I should try that. If you are stuck, you are in the right place, because we're going to go through a goal setting tonight with a deadline, of course. But long story short, even the best can be better. So tonight I want you to be honest with yourself when you're writing down your answers to the questions that I ask you, when you're making notes, okay? Make sure that these answers are actually honest, and please hold yourself accountable so that you can improve and have a better business than, well, even if you're at your best setting right now, make it even better, right? Now, let's go ahead and dive in. So the questions that I'm going to have for you right now are going to be like the setting for our workshop tonight. The first thing that I want you to think about is, what is your why? Now, what does that even mean? Why are you here? What is your goal here? What is the main thing that you want to do when you're here? Maybe you want to make a lot of money. Maybe you want to just be able to pay your bills. Maybe you want to grow the biggest business in the industry, right? Maybe you're here for your family. Maybe you want to prove that you can be something. Okay, that's one of mine. Honestly, it's one of my whys. Yeah, because I honestly, not trying to get too deep. Maybe we might get a little deep tonight. All right. When you have kids, it puts you in a box and what you can do outside of that, right? Especially being a mom. And this opportunity has given me a platform to not only be an incredible mom while I'm at home, because that's what it lets me do. It also gives me ability to be somebody else to somebody else. Does that make sense? Like, I get to be important for even just maybe 30 minutes of my life, and I get to share knowledge with you guys. That's really big for me. So maybe that's part of my why, but I have several ones, and you might find yourself having several ones too. Now, taking the consideration for what is your why, I want you to consider in that, what do you want to achieve? What is your goal when it comes to the why? What do you want to be known for? Maybe you want to be known for being the best travel booker. Maybe you want to be known as the top industry expert for your niche. Who do you want to become in that as well? Then I want you to take those second to the fourth question, and I want you to put a win at the end of it, okay? That is basically what we're doing tonight. Now, we're not going to do it in this large setting. We're going to break it down even more than this. But when you are able to actually sit down and answer your why, you already know the answer to the other questions underneath. When you're thinking about, like, say if it's your family, maybe you're here to give your family a better future. When do you want to do that? Now, right? So a lot of these questions that we're answering, I want you to put deadlines. Like, yes, this is what I want to achieve, and this is exactly when I want to do it. So taking that, continuing to this for me as well. You can feel free to answer it in the chat if you want, or just answer it to yourself. It doesn't matter. Do you currently have obtainable goals set for your business? If you currently do, that's great. But when it comes to goals, I really want you to stop and think what the actual goals are, okay? Because I want you to think about, when do you actually plan on achieving them? Are these goals like, oh, I want to do my first booking? Like, what kind of goals are we talking? Are we talking like a 5-year goal? Like, how is this goal going to benefit you? What are the steps to complete it? Like, because I ask this because a lot of people, when they sit here and they find they got their why, right? They don't really have a plan or a goal in place on how to achieve it. And they might come to you and they might say, oh yeah, no, this is what I'm going to do. I'm here to book travel. Okay, but how are you going to book travel? That's what I'm talking about. A lot of us do that. And I did this for roughly about a whole year. I sat in a fog for myself and I was like, yeah, that's what I'm going to do. All right. And then I had all of these opportunities to do it. And because I didn't have a plan or a purpose or a why set in place, I was just trying to survive. That's what I thought I was doing. But I never had that why set in place till after the first year. And then I was like, oh, I'm not taking this serious. Like, I have all of these tools that are given to me, and I only use maybe a fourth of them, maybe, right? Like, very small portion of them. And then, as you can see, as I'm training you guys, right, and I'm teaching you all of these different platforms and stuff, I'm adding on and I'm adding on. And you're like, wow, I didn't know about this. And you might be a little overwhelmed at first, but what I'm showing you is that it took me a year to figure this out. Now let me explain to you how it can help you too, right? So when you're going to these goals, what do you have in place for them? What is your plan for it? And how can you use that plan to achieve your why? So tonight we're going to talk about this. We're also going to do a groundwork on setting those goals. We're going to talk about marketing, okay? Time management. We're going to talk about seeking feedback and how important that is. Maybe finding an accountability partner and how continuing learning, adaptability, and of course, celebrating all of our achievements. Let's dive in. Now, when we're starting with the setting of the goals, the first thing that I'm going to ask tonight when it comes to holding yourself accountable is that, have you done this? Have you done any of this? This is the basics of being a travel advisor. And it can be something small in these have you done this that could really hurt you, especially when you're first starting out, or even hurt you over time when you're out there trying to be successful and you skip something. So, of course, the first thing you always have to have is your certificate. So if you're new and you're watching this, you cannot sell until you have your certificate. So please get that, right? Then, of course, new agent orientation. There is a lovely lady that does it live all the time. I see her in Evolution Enterprise, and we have some in the back office if your mentor doesn't have it for you. But nonetheless, you need some kind of rough orientation that you get through that involves supplier registration. You will need these in order to sell and register what you plan on selling. Do not wait. If you have vendors that you're watching this right now and you're like, oh, I should have registered with this vendor, please go and do that after this. Because the biggest thing that I have seen when it comes to advisors is that they get their first booking and they have no vendors to use. We don't want to use Expedia Tap unless we have to, right? So don't set yourself up for failure right off starting. Next, there is a lot that is going to come to marketing. We probably learn something new in marketing all the time because it's always changing, etc., right? To start with that, to make it easier on yourself, set up your strategy before you even begin. Once you launch, you have to be consistent to be remembered. So you can't go back and start a whole marketing when you're already in depth and you're now successful and everything's going great. We're hopping along, right? And now you're going to find yourself backtracking because you never set up an actual marketing strategy. You just dove right into it and you just started posting and you didn't know why you were posting or what you were posting. We're going to talk about that tonight. But make sure you have a strategy and a purpose onto what you're doing and what you're trying to achieve, and that you're not just out here blindly posting. Then another thing that people actually miss a lot is actually launching their, their business, their opportunity, whatever you want to call it, launching into the fact that they sell travel. A lot of us miss this. They will like make a business page. Okay, if I'm talking about you, please don't take this the wrong way, but I've seen a lot in 3 years here. I can tell you, honey, listen, you will launch your business page and then they don't tell anybody about it. And then that'd be the first person that will come and say, well, I'm not getting any sales right now. Well, in order to get sales, you have to tell people, whether it's in line or if it's on person, or just you have to let the world know. If the world doesn't know, you're not going to get a booking, right? Next one, testing your vendors. Every time that you get an opportunity to book travel, I want you to get comfortable using your vendors, especially in the beginning. If you need ideas for marketing content, do a mock booking. Test your vendors in the setting of a mock booking, because that's going to be the wonderful time to get comfortable with what we use. You can learn about them, you can try them out. One of the best ways to learn in the travel industry is through experience, whether that is experiencing with a vendor, whether that is experiencing with a booking, or experiencing the travel yourself, right? You never learn any of these things unless you actually play around with each one. So please take time to do that. Next, grab your tools. I want you to sit down and really think about all the tools that we have available to us. I go through Market Like a Pro. I just yesterday did the second part. In there, I talk about tools, tactics, and time savers. A lot of people in those trainings don't know about all of these tools that we have available. I mean, even me, who I consider myself quite an expert on this part of that, there's still every day I find a new tool that I could probably end up using or could be useful to somebody else. So make sure that you guys are paying attention to all of the tools that Archer is providing to us, because there is a lot of free marketing. I have a training directly just on free marketing in itself, okay? Because there's so many different vendors that provide us affiliate links and collateral and flyers and offers. There's just so many things that we can have, right? But make sure that you're grabbing this free marketing and these training tools and you're putting them in one place. Make a spreadsheet if you need to, because they're really going to help you, right? You're going to let them do the work for you and don't use it against you, because one thing that I talked about yesterday was social proof. We need to have social proof when it comes to our marketing. Who's better to do the social proof for us than our own vendors themselves, right? Determine what and how you want to sell. This is something that a lot of people miss too. When they first start pushing, oh, I sell travel, that's great. What makes you different from every other travel advisor? How can you make yourself different from every travel advisor? Finding your niche and learning how you want to sell it. That's it. You can seek advantages and way to be successful in that niche. And that is what's going to make you successful as a travel advisor. I've done a lot of marketing training in my days, and the best thing that they always tell you is to niche down, whatever that niche is going to be. Maybe you are a mom and you sell travel, and you talk about family travel and you talk about mom tips. Like, it can be a whole setting, right? But it needs to be consistent when you're laying that setting down, because that's what brings people back to you, is because they're expecting the same thing every time. They're like, oh, watching this, right? Think about your favorite TikTok creators. When you're scrolling, you already know what's going to happen when you see that same person over and over. They like that. How do you do that? By finding that niche and reusing it over and over. Now, last thing I want to share too, that is considered groundwork, is you guys need to get connected with your mentors. Some of you guys come to me and you're like, hey, I need help. Now, if you know, I don't really do help on a personal setting. I don't do one-on-ones with agents that aren't mine, because it's just not my place to mentor you, right? Your mentor needs to mentor you, or your upline, however that works in that setting. But I have been here for 3 years, and the one thing that's kept me here for 3 years is that I am connected with my mentor. You guys probably already know, Emily Jimenez. I love her more than anything. She is like the absolute most amazing person to me, and that's because I've taken time to make sure I stay connected to her. Now, I highly recommend that you stay connected with your mentor and send and seek for feedback anytime, even 3 years in. If I'm doing something that I've never done before, you best believe I'm going over there. Now, do I ask all the questions like before? No. Obviously, I know most of the stuff now. But even now, 3 years in, hey, I'm staying connected. Hey, can you check this out? Does this look right? Can you help me with this? Right? Staying connected is vital for your success. Check in, whether it be a Q&A, maybe you're doing one of the lives for Evolution. They have booking Q&As. Maybe you're, joining the classes, anything, or just even talking to your mentor. Let others know what you're stuck on, okay? If you need help with something and you're drowning in something, do not tell me, oh, my mentor's too busy. Oh, I don't have time. No, they will make time for you. You're your upline, whoever. Join the Q&A, right? There's always going to be that resource, and you staying connected, like really using your resources, is what's going to make you successful. Now that we have that set up, now we're going to move forward, okay? The groundwork is the foundation to it. So now we need to go in and set up the next setting, which is going to be our goal setting. Now, this is going to be different from our usual goal setting. A lot of times when I set goals with you guys, I'll be like, all right, so I'll see you in a couple of weeks. Let me know how it goes. We're not doing that. This goal that you are going to set for your business has to have a very specific deadline. Now, when we're setting these deadlines, they need to be considered what we call SMART goals. SMART goals are specific, measurable, achievable, and relevant and time-bound goals that you're going to set for your marketing efforts. I don't care if you market in person. I don't care if it's just to get a client. Just any kind of goal that really would just change your business. And it's something that's actually attainable, right? And it can have a deadline. That's the kind of goal I'm talking about tonight. This could include your first sale, growing your clientele, or maybe even just simply social media engagement. I'm not talking like a 10-year goal, okay? Something short, but make it small and make it achievable. Now, once we have these kind of things in place, okay, we're going to go in and kind of set the criteria for it, making it small, smart, all of the stuff that we've already talked about. And by the end of this step that we're going through, I really want you guys to just have a goal and have a deadline. If you want to write it down, if you want to share it in the chat, however you want to do it, that's totally fine. I just want you to have something in place when you walk out of here and something to kind of work towards, because along with accountability also needs a direction after you hold yourself accountable. It can't be like, okay, I'm not, doing anything with this. No, okay, yes, we acknowledge that we weren't doing this or this or this. How are we going to fix it, right? So sit down and kind of think about what you haven't done so far and what could change, and write that as your goal if you need to, and make sure we put an attainable deadline to it. Of course, feel free to share if you want. So, what is a goal? Now, I put there because a lot of people kind of get confused when it comes to goals. The goal is just honestly just a clear statement of what you want to achieve. It can be short term, it could be long term, but short term goals tend to be like just one small, like, all right, I want to get a sale, right? They need to have steps in it, okay? These short term goals can be steps along the way of maybe like a long term goal, like say for example, my first goal when I first started. We'll talk about mine. That's fine. Listen, when I first started, I was a stay-at-home mom, and we were depending on my husband's income, and he was working hard to try to be an engineer. So our income wasn't that great. So my first goal was to pay for my own car payment. Now, ironically, 3 years in, I make it almost nearly as enough as my engineer husband. Okay. So success has been achieved, but it was something like a short term goal for me, like setting up my car payment, right? Was something that was the long term goal, which was what? Making more than enough money to be sustainable. So that's mine. Okay. So whatever your goal is, think of it as something small to start with that's going to build something that you can honestly live in with the freedom and all of that that we're looking for when it comes to being a travel advisor. So, why do you need to set a goal? Setting a goal is going to be the main way that you can hold yourself accountable and have a purpose. It's going to help set up that why you are here, right? So, I don't really want to read all of this. I know I put this all in here, but let's just be honest with it, okay? You can set goals. It's going to help kind of outline the specific targets for any kind of business expansion that you're looking for, maybe attracting new clients. It's going to help you focus on kind of enhancing your customer experiences. Why? Because once we sit down, maybe it's being the first sale. We don't want it to be our last sale, right? We want to really go in and close that deal. So it's going to help, kind of grow our customers' experiences. And then it's going to help kind of provide a roadmap for how we can grow as a travel advisor when we're setting that goal, because this isn't going to be a one-time goal, right? Now, goal setting tips before you guys kind of go in and write them down. I want you to be very specific about what you achieve. I want you to measure your progress, maybe with being a goal, okay, and then having steps. And I want you to measure it as you complete them. Be very realistic about what this goal is and always have a deadline. Break down the large goal. If the large goal seems like it's too big to achieve, break it down, and then make sure you're prioritizing your entire goal around the tasks that you complete each day. And then the biggest thing I want you to do is understand that life happens, right? Life happens. So we need to make sure that we're flexible and expect changes to occur, and sometimes even the goal changing in itself. And then, of course, the last one is going to be, before we stay positive, is honestly be open for criticism and setbacks, especially if you're dealing with social media. Sometimes your biggest post ends up being a flop and your silliest post ends up being the most viral. So regardless, just try to stay positive in this and reward yourself. One of my favorite things about being in the travel industry is that we have a lot of opportunities, and there's always a new way to market, or a new way to get a client, or a new way to learn, a new way to travel, maybe, right? So when you have a setback in the travel industry, I don't want you to ever think of it as something that is kind of hindering you. It's honestly just a new way to learn, because we find ourselves in so many situations where it's like, oh, well, I didn't know I could do that, right? Like VAX, for example, when I did the training last week, I'm doing separate air flights going to one particular hotel. What? There's so many people that didn't know you could do that. There's just always something new you can do here. So don't ever think of it as a negative thing when you have a setback. Now, let's go in and set the goal. All right. Write this down for me. I want to achieve whatever this is by whatever that time frame that you have set. Later, you're going to write the steps down and you're going to get to work. But the main thing here is I just want you to leave with a goal, because that's the only way you're going to find yourself holding yourself accountable. When you have a goal, like think about, if somebody wants to lose weight, what is their goal? Losing weight. Okay, well, how are they going to get there? They have to do the right steps. It's the same thing when it comes to your business, even everyday life skills, right? So set the goal, write it down, and then, of course, work on the steps to actually get there. And I don't mean like one or two steps. If you're, let's say, you want to work on getting more clients. Okay, how are you marketing? All right. Now, marketing is really what we're going to talk about next, because there's two things that you can hold yourself accountable on, really, when it comes to travel advisor. If you don't have a goal, if you don't have a purpose, you don't know what you're doing, right? But even if you hold yourself accountable in that, set your goal and maybe the purpose of why you're here, it all is going to resort back to telling how you want to get clients, which is marketing. Let's be honest, marketing. If you don't hold yourself accountable in a marketing setting, your business can't be successful because you're not telling anybody what you're doing. So, we're going to talk about marketing now, right? It's time to talk marketing. So, while booking travel can be easy, getting the ideal client can be challenging. There are so many different types of marketing, and honestly, most agents overthink it. You have to become comfortable with talking about travel, whether it's online or in person. Try to make it a conversation. That is the biggest thing that I can tell you when it comes to marketing. Educate people, talk to them, just come out and say, hey, look, this is what you need to do. That's what they're looking for when it comes to travel advisors. They're looking to us to advise them, right? So we need to make it a conversation. And as a joke, I often say, think of your business as your baby, right? Your baby, she or he, needs all of the attention, and you can't wait to show them off. I think about when you first have a baby, you want to show everybody your baby, right? And you want to just pay all attention to them. Okay, take that setting and turn it into your business and watch your business grow. When you actually sit down and go, okay, this is really what I want to do, it's going to change. Now, here's a question for you. Feel free to answer. Are you truly marketing? Oof. Even myself, listen, I use Deliberate for marketing. So my marketing is autopiloted. When I tell you I've got Branch Up, I've got Rallyo, I've got Deliberate, I've got them all set up autopilot. So when I look at this question, I giggle because am I truly marketing? No, probably not. Honestly, I post like 7, 8 times a day. All right. Okay. So I am marketing, but am I truly sitting down and like trying to put myself out there to get clients? Yeah. Now, let's talk about what can you do to hold yourself accountable when it comes to marketing. First of all, it requires more than one post. Oof. Consistency is one of the biggest parts of being able to attain clients. Think of them saying, like, you have to hear it something like 3 times to remember it. You guys remember that when we were kids? Say it 3 times and you remember it. Oh, I also remember, like, when it comes to the posting, a lot of people will say, you know, they need to see you 8 times before they feel comfortable with booking with you. Oh, okay. So, how do we obtain that, right? Now, how many times has your reach honestly heard you this week? Let me know. How many times has your reach honestly felt like, okay, they actually are serious about their business? Next one. Do you understand your niche and your clientele? That's the biggest part of marketing. Do we actually understand who we're selling to? Are we just posting to post, or are we really sitting down and going, you know what? This is what my niche really is. This is what my clientele really wants, right? Marketing with a purpose brings in the most people. When they can authentically tell it's you and this is exactly what you're meant to be doing, right? They can feel it. When you market, think of what you plan to achieve with each movement that you're doing and consider the audience and how they will react. That's one of the biggest parts because if you're just posting sell, 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 there's no personalization to that, right? If you're just posting Branch Up and Rallyo on your page, they can tell. They can tell that's just sales posts. They don't connect with that. They like it, sure. But is that exactly what they're looking for in a travel advisor? No, they're looking to have a personal connection with you. So, do you understand your clientele that you're connecting with? Next one, the plan. Oof. Do you have a plan? Do you have a plan when it comes to marketing? There's a big difference between random marketing and planned marketing. Okay, I'm going to give you an example. My YouTube channel. My YouTube channel has planned marketing. Why? Because I plan to go live. I plan when I post my videos. I plan when I post, the shorts. Same thing with my Facebook, actually. The same thing, right? Those are planned out. They go way more successful than me just waking up and you're like, you know what? Today I'm just going to go live and I really hope everyone shows up. No, you're here because I told you about it, right? If I didn't tell you about it, you wouldn't be on this live. It goes the same way with your business. Think of it like out of sight, out of mind. So let me know. Do you currently have a plan for marketing? Oof, this one's deep. Okay, we're going deeper. Hold on. So, why do we need a plan and how? You need to remember that the success of your travel agency's marketing efforts depend on consistency, adaptability, and the ability to provide customer service at an excellent level. That's three main parts of how you can be successful right there. If you show up every day, if you adapt to all the changes in the travel industry, and then when it comes to the actual booking, you don't just leave them hanging and you provide the excellent customer service that repeats to clientele coming back, right? Now, no matter if you're good at it, if you're decent at it, or if you're just started, you have to continuously monitor your performance on your marketing strategies and make sure you're staying current with these trends that are always changing. And that way, honestly, you can effectively market your business. So, why plan? All right. I'm not going to go into the depths of all of this, but you need to write it out, whether it's like I use the app Deliver It, or whether it's on paper, or whether it's even in Canva calendar. You know, we're doing training this week on Thursday. We're doing 30 days of content in 60 minutes. That's writing it out. Next, you need to make sure you're doing the right platforms. Tomorrow, I'm talking about how to master a social media platform. So you need to set up your platforms, right? I'm giving you guys all the sauce here. I'm just giving it out here, okay? So look at your social media pages and kind of obtain the kind of platforms that you want to use. Don't use all of them if you don't want to, but you need to be consistent. You need to start reaching out. You need to start inviting people. You need to start sharing your collateral, whether it's online or in person. You need to talk about travel like it's a normal thing for you. And you need to do your research and you need to learn more about what you're selling so you can be great at selling it. You also need to get outside of your bubble. Yeah, we're all in our bubbles. We like our bubbles. I love my bubble, but I force myself to kind of get out of it, right? By sharing content and collateral to groups outside of my normal, audience. I join communities that have similar interests so I can help out with those and answer questions. Go online, start sharing your expertise and insights everywhere you can. I always tell you guys one of the best ways to be a travel advisor online is to educate, because there's a lot of things that people don't know about travel. And man, do they come on these platforms to learn? Absolutely. Think about the last time you've actually sat down and watched the news, or when you actually sat down and watched your TikTok. It's going to be more of the TikTok, Facebook setting, right? Okay, think about it like that. Respond, respond, respond. This is one thing that people always mess up when it comes to this plan that they're building. A lot of people, once they start getting these reads, because when you start being consistent enough, you're going to sit there and you're going to start getting the people bringing back to you. They're going to start coming back to you, right? But a lot of us miss that response. And I don't mean just hearting it. I mean like actually take time and engage with them, because that is one of the biggest complaints, that a travel agent does not respond in a timely manner. If you get a booking inquiry and you're super excited about it, great. Make sure you text them and tell them, oh, hey, I'm so excited to work with you, right? Because if you don't do that last part, let me explain something. If you don't do that last part, everything that you just worked on for a matter of months it's gone. That's it. We're done. You have to start all back over, right? So make sure you're finishing it when you're planning. And that's the important part of the planning, is so you don't skip around and miss the important steps that can contribute to your success. So next thing we're going to talk about is time management. Where does the time go? Oh, does it go? Especially when you're a travel advisor. Especially if you have ADHD like me, we have so much fun spiraling on things. I have to actually stop during my day, somebody who's 3 years in, and I have to set time limits for things that I do, because I can spiral and like I can see opportunities everywhere I go to always do better. So I'm always sitting down and I'm messing with the computer, and then like an hour has gone by and I'm like, oh, wait, stop, right? So when you're considering all of the time that you've spent on your business, how do you measure time? Do you measure it in the amount of hours that you've used, or do you measure it in the amount of tasks that you've completed? And in that, what do you currently put the most time into? Okay, write these kind of things down. I want you to consider this. How do you measure your time? And that what is currently the most of your time that you feel like you put into when it comes to this business? Time management. People often ask mentors, oh, yes, how many times a day or how many hours a day do you put into this? When I do a presentation, that is one of the most questions I get. How many hours a day do you actually put into this? Honestly, I don't know. I don't know because I don't measure my time by hours because it's something that I honestly love doing. I measure it by task. And when I set a goal to complete something, I'm measuring my time by the time, like, oh, yeah, I completed this task and I have this. And then when I complete a goal, it's literally like the biggest relief for me. It's so exciting to complete a goal, right? So now I'm asking you, how many hours a day do you honestly put into this? Maybe you don't measure by hours, but how many, like, what is, honestly, are you putting the right amount of time in there? That's really what I'm going for, right? Because it's not about really how many hours, but it's really what it comes down to is what you're doing in those hours that make a difference. If you're spiraling and you're not setting specific time limits to what you're doing, you're really going to mess yourself up, and then you're going to feel so unaccomplished. And it's not because you're unaccomplished, you're just not doing the right task in the hours that you give yourself when you're working on your business. So, by making your time productive, like setting up that plan, that's what we're doing here, okay? We're not just holding ourselves accountable, we're setting up a plan to make sure that what we're doing is actually effective. In that, we're going to have organization and we're going to be able to prioritize what tasks we actually need to complete and what's actually going to benefit us when we're completing them. Write down what needs to be done and then check it off as you go. I have a task manager on my phone and I fill it out every night before I go to bed to make sure that I know exactly what I need to do for the next day. In that, it creates a routine, which also is going to help do time blocking. You need to create a routine for simple tasks that you like to do every day when it comes to your business. Maybe it's quote building, maybe it's marketing, maybe it's training. In those time blocks, make sure that they have sudden alarms to do so because that's going to help you reduce this procrastination. And that's why you're not successful because of that procrastination right there. Right there is the procrastination and the lack of consistency could really just hurt your business altogether because if they can't see you, they don't know that you're a business. They don't know that you're selling. Remind them, right? Now, with that time, if you can automate it, look, if Precious Carol watches this, she's gonna laugh at me because she always says, you don't like when I automate things. No, not everything can be automated, okay? But if it's something simple that can be automated, you need to use your tools. Use your tools to automate those strategies. If it's a small task, like for example, Meta Business Suite for your scheduling of your marketing, if it's a small task like that, then use it. Automate your strategies and change what doesn't work. Review the analytics, and then what takes off, redo it over and over. Take the pressure off of yourself and use those tools. Remember that productivity is not just about getting more tasks done, but also about achieving your goals efficiently. Tailor these tips to your specific niche and workflow to create a productive and successful career as a travel advisor. Taking exactly what I'm saying, we're not just using this to get just a goal going. This is going to help hold you accountable and make sure that you're effective when you're doing all of this work. So, I honestly recommend seeking feedback and grabbing a partner. One of the best things that you can do is finding somebody else that is like you and is serious about this business. Because if you're here, you're serious. Okay. This is a training that a lot of people skip because they don't want to hear it. But if you are able to be open to feedback and to grab a partner, okay, find them. They're all in chats. Ask a chat that you're in. Hey, is anybody else looking for an accountability partner? Working together is so much fun. Okay. For example, on Sundays, I get together with a few of the travel advisors here and we work together. It's great, right? It holds us accountable to sit down and put a time block to work on our business. And before we arrive, we set up a time for each thing that we want to do so we know exactly what we need to accomplish there. Maybe you don't have anybody to do that with just yet, but maybe find somebody in your area that's also a travel advisor or two, Starbucks. Just go down to Starbucks, sit down and work. That's all you gotta do. All right. Now, let's ask this. Let's talk about this. Are you honestly open to feedback? Listening to your mentor's guidance and clients are crucial to success. I have seen a simple change make a huge difference in a business. So don't be afraid to ask for reviews. A lot of us are afraid to ask for reviews, right? Or suggestions, okay? They are meant to help you. They're not out to hurt you. They're not out to get you. If your mentor is giving you feedback, it's because we know it doesn't work. We've been here for a while, so if we're telling you it doesn't work, we're not trying to hurt you. We're just trying to save you time. All right. Next, of course, about grabbing an accountability partner is a great way to help you stay focused. Finding someone who has the same goals as you and can share that frustration and share that talking. Like when we're going through it and we're stuck on something and you can bounce ideas off of them, whether you need to vent or you need suggestions, it is great to have an open ear. So try to find one in your area or find one online, meet with each other. There's a bunch of groups you guys can all meet in and just get out there and find somebody that has that same energy as you. It's really going to help you be successful. Now, last couple of things, make sure you guys are always learning and adapting. Okay. We must be always ready to learn as travel advisors. One of the best ways to keep us connected is adapting and learning to the travel changes that happen. Just recently, I've seen Carnival has a new payment link. I really like talking about that. I think it's so cool when they get payment links. Even Pleasant Holidays, you can now like apply for the affiliate link through them. So I'm going to talk about that. And then one thing that I've noticed lately about the industry that's really changing, and you might be able to agree with this, but a lot of us like now are getting clients that want us to like design an entire trip for them. It's not like a book a hotel for me. No, it's like a book a whole trip for me. We're going here and I need activities. I need to do this and that. And you're just over like, oh, we're planning a whole trip. So that's an industry change. They're looking for more of a personal connection because they're tired of the AI and they're tired of the Expedia, just, oh, it's booked, great, have a good day. They don't want that anymore. They want to be connected to us. And that's how we're going to stay on top as travel advisors. So these changes affect us, and it's important for each agent, whether you're seasoned or new, to learn on how to adapt and use new tools. Okay. And of course, my good rule of thumb that I always try to put out is train in what will help you sell. If it's going to help you be a better travel advisor, then use it. If it doesn't, like all of these trainings that you guys see, they might not all be relevant to you, but if it's going to help you, make sure you stay connected and continuous to learn. Even as somebody who's 3 years in, I still attend at least 3 trainings a week. That doesn't change. Make sure you stay locked in. Now, are you adaptable? That's one thing that we really need to talk about. Here are things to consider to help people become more centered on these changes. Use the travel trends to your advantage. Embrace the technology. A lot of you like to fight the AI thing. No, use it. It's there for you. Just go ahead. Just take it, right? Be open to learning new marketing strategies. If you are somebody who's like, hey, this isn't working, I'm just like, it's just not working. Okay, let's change it. Let's do something else. That's not the end. We just need to reevaluate what we're doing. Understand that your clients have preferences and adapt to them. If you have somebody that I always get people out of like, oh, they just really want these big expensive flights and they want the nicest room. Okay, that's their preference. Adapt to it. You can provide that to them. That's what we do as advisors, right? Listen to your audience through marketing. What they engage to is what they like. That's it. If you can be able to understand that what is actually working and what's not working, that's how you grow in your business. You can do that by just listening to what the audience like. If you got a lot of hits off of one post, reuse it. And you can do that by just keep posting. That consistency is what helps builds to what works and what doesn't. Being adaptable as a travel agent involves a combination of staying informed, embracing change, and consistently reassessing and adjusting your strategies. This flexibility will position you to thrive in a dynamic and ever-evolving industry. Now, lastly, we're going to give ourselves a round of applause here, okay? I really want you guys to celebrate all of your, whether you just set up your link tree for the first time, you got your first booking, maybe somebody liked your social media post, whatever it is. One thing as a travel advisor, because we work at home, we're constantly in this, like we work at home. We're always at work, right? So it's very common for us to put pressure on ourselves to do more. But never forget what you've already accomplished, especially in those moments when we have setbacks. We may be just a little overwhelmed, but we're never unaccomplished. You, even if you just set up your business name today, you still have accomplished something, and you need to be very proud of it. I remember when I first started out, every time I would build something, I would go and show it to my husband. And I know he probably thought at first, like, okay, lady, great, you set up a website. I don't even understand. But now, 3 years in, even now, that man, he is probably my biggest fan. He'll ask me to, if he sees something on my YouTube or my Facebook, he'll tell me, like, oh, I saw that. Like, that means more to me than half the people seeing it, right? So maybe you might just need to find your biggest fan. That might be something. Or just really be your own biggest fan, because I was. That's the only reason I'm telling him. It's because I'm excited about it. You have to be just as excited, and that's how you make other people excited. If you're just like posting and you're just like, oh, okay, I did it, they feel that energy. Bring that to it. Celebrate your achievements. Tell them, like, oh, look, guys, I just set up this. Oh, I just got this booking. Here's a post about my booking. Here's what my business is doing now. Celebrate it with yourself. Celebrate it with everybody, because you are always accomplished. You are accomplishing things, whether they're small, big, whatever. You're always growing in this industry, and that's probably one of my favorite parts about being here. So I just want to go ahead and say thank you. If you guys have any questions, feel free to comment below. I can't see them right now because I'm not in my studio, but I will be heading to my studio in a little bit, so I'll go look at them. Of course, I want to say great job. Okay. This training, I feel like it's a lot, but it is a great to actually sit down and go, wait a minute, I'm actually not doing what I'm supposed to do, and just readapting, because that's what's going to make you even better as a travel advisor. Of course, if you don't know, my trainings will be posted. It's an automatic replay when I get done with this. And I'll also upload another video so you can put it on different platforms right after I get done with this one. And tomorrow, we've learned how to hold ourselves accountable tonight. So tomorrow we're going to talk about how to master a social media platform, which is also going to kind of keep you accountable. So you definitely want to attend, and I will be right back here live tomorrow night at 5 p.m. PST. So thank you so much for attending. And if you guys have any questions, I'm going to head to my studio now and put some music on for us, and I will be answering them there. If not, I will see you guys tomorrow.